look, I was in that role. I mean, I was in a job in my early 20s when I was exceeding expectations. I wasn't just putting in the hours. I was getting the ROI for the company, and I was doing essentially 2 roles as one job, one title, and always asking for more opportunities and showing the numbers and the growth, and just not getting anywhere with my manager. And so you have to sometimes listen to people when they keep telling you no. Well, that's your cue. But I think before you make the leap, it's really important to know clearly, well, how is the next role going to fulfill you? Like, what are you actually looking for? What was it about that job that you are currently in or had that, you want to go into the new job with these explicit set of new boundaries, or these explicit set of new opportunities that you want to pursue? How are you going to grow? I'm all for leaving jobs because of severe burnout. Let's just be clear. I mean, sometimes you just have to, if it's eating away at your mental and physical health. That happened to a lot of us in the pandemic. In an ideal world, I would love to see somebody have a little bit of a cushion, a financial cushion, a nest egg. I call it a financial runway. Even in the pandemic, if that meant breaking your 401k open. And, and I always say, if your house is on fire, you don't question the cost of the water. You have to save your house. But in these times, if you're thinking like, okay, this isn't the right place for me, I'm getting all the signs. I love red flags. I talk about that in the book. Red flags are sometimes difficult, but it's like, listen to the red flags. Look at the red flags. If people are not treating you right, that's a red flag. If it becomes a pattern, that's when you know that you need to start getting your affairs in order. And I would always recommend that you have a little bit of a 3-month, 4-5-month runway where you can, at the minimum, pay your rent, your bills. I've done stories about people who have wanted to quit without another job lined up. And it takes planning, quietly planning. And it's almost like, quietly planning the relationship, quietly planning to leave the relationship, and then quietly planning to leave your job. You want to leave on good terms too. You don't want to leave with, where you can't refer back for a recommendation. I think there's a professional way to leave on good terms, but they are your terms, and you have done the work of setting yourself up for success in the next opportunity, because you've, again, put together some finances for yourself. You've got some savings. And I want to take the pressure off of people to say that the next job doesn't have to be perfect. The next job just could be a safe space for you to go get those affairs in order. If you're burnt out, you're in a hostile work environment and you just need to get out, go work somewhere where you can take that mental load off. It could be a much simpler job, maybe even a lower paying one. But what you're doing is you're buying yourself some time, and you're giving yourself the space and the clearance to really think more critically and strategically about, well, what is going to be the next, quote unquote, real opportunity for me? And then to not beat yourself up if the next gig is not, exponentially better. It could even be just a part-time job, just whatever you need to pay the bills and feel like you have the space and capacity to plan more effectively for your next move.
When you're someone who has a history of scarcity trauma and you have family telling you, well, what if this happens and what if that happens? And they're projecting all of their fears onto you because that's how they show love, right? They show you love by, well, I'm going to scare the hell out of you so that I protect you from making mistakes. Being aware of that is so important because it's so easy to feel swayed, even when your gut is telling you, I got to get out of here. This is not good for me. The people on the outside can really sway you.
Yes.
And it can feel very lonely when you're in a place and you're making these decisions that maybe people don't agree with.